That's multi-layer insulation. We put that over the back end. That keeps all the valves underneath and the electronics warm and cool. Warm from the chill of darkness and the vacuum of space, and also helps insulate it from the hot radiative plume when we fire that second stage engine.
Got some cool views of the sunrise on the coming up from the Earth's horizon over there, which is very cool. Very cool to see.
"42 minutes, everything continues to be nominal on the second stage." Now, just to give you an idea of where we've been, where we're going, in about 1 minute, we are going to get deployment of Intuitive Machines 2 lunar lander, named Athena. We had the launch. We got into orbit with the first burn of the engine you see there on the screen. We just finished the second burn about 5 minutes ago, and we are in a coast phase on stage 2, making sure everything on the stage is quiet, do final vents, and then make sure that the stage is very stable, it's not moving around. And then we'll see deployment. It'll be interesting. I'm not sure which camera views we're going to get at deployment. Now, once we do the deployment, we then start another sequence that takes about 3 minutes and 50 seconds, and then we will get to the rideshare deployments. We'll have one, and then every 20 seconds, and then 20 seconds after that. Right now, we're just counting down, waiting for deployment. So let's listen into the countdown now.
There is that deployment. You can see IM-2 Nova C lunar lander named Athena floating away from Falcon 9's second stage, confirming spacecraft separation. Now, from all of us here at SpaceX, we are wishing the IM-2 lander a good flight and safe travels. SpaceX is honored to be a part of NASA's Commercial Lunar Payload Services Initiative to deliver science and technology to the lunar surface, and we thank NASA and the Intuitive Machines for entrusting us with today's historic mission to the moon. Now, while we wait for the next development, let's bring in Tahira and Josh back at KSC.
Yo, man, that was absolutely gorgeous. What an excellent throw from SpaceX to Hero. What do you think of that shot?
It is unreal, literally. It's so gorgeous.
Right now, we're going to continue to listen in simultaneously. We have Intuitive Machines Nova Control in Houston, Texas. That's going to be waiting for acquisition of signal. That's Athena's first call home, while also monitoring SpaceX.
FM, can you call out when we should have booted? And then if we get close to Confeder, give us a call.
All right, that's Intuitive Machines Mission Control confirming Athena separation confirmed. And to hear, while we stand by and keep running this clock for about 5 minutes after launch vehicle separation, that's when we expect Athena to make that first call home. At the same time, John I and Yomei in Hawthorne, California will be calling out those rideshare deployments.
And Com and Raven, let's tell
on screen.
Scuba to stand by, and let's focus on Singapore and Tina.
Yep, on screen you're looking at Intuitive Machines Nova Control on the left, and you're looking at the second stage views on the right with SpaceX, Tahira.
Just gorgeous views. Look at that Earth. That's us.
Absolutely incredible. A lot of things are happening right now. It's a very dynamic situation for those rideshare deployments. Let's just listen in here.
AD permission back to TNF for a second.
Here we go.
Those calls you just heard are the ground net stations that you're looking at right now inside of Nova Control, waiting for the ground stations on Earth to acquire Athena's signal. We're standing by in Houston for Athena making that first call home, standing by in SpaceX Hawthorne for waiting for those 3 rideshare deployments. We expect all of these things to be happening simultaneously.
And Josh, right now from Hawthorne, we should be about 30 seconds away from starting that sequence of rideshare deploy. First up should be Astroforge's Odin. 20 seconds after that, Lunar Trailblazer. And then 20 seconds after that, Epic's Chimera. Odin deployed, as you heard over the net.
Status, Odin's away.
Lunar Trailblazer, separation confirmed.
Lunar Trailblazer away.
We heard the call out in the acknowledgement. Lunar Trailblazer separated. Wait about another 10 seconds, and it'll be Chimera.
Yeah, we will have an OEM for them. Priority right now is Singapore.
Chimera away. All spacecraft are separated.
4 minutes, 15 seconds past that.
All right.
Now Josh Tahira, Falcon 9 second stage has sent its commands. Everything successfully deployed. Now we're waiting a word from you all on acquisition of signal from Athena.
Thanks a lot, John. We're still listening in to Intuitive Machines' Nova Control.
IM status, waiting for 1909 for our window to open for visibility on the first station.
That's flight controllers waiting for that window to start listening in for Athena to make that call home. We're just about inside of that expected window for her to make that first call to you. We expect Athena.
We're still standing by for connection with Tinoch, is that correct?
That's good feedback.
I'm getting.
Should I enable randomization?
Yeah, we're getting some information. We're waiting for visibility at our first ground station to hear. Those are the large radio astronomy dishes on Earth that are needed to make that connection to Athena out in space. What she's doing right now is autonomously commissioning. That's a process where she's turning on her power systems, getting into max power attitude. That's pointing that top deck solar array right at the sun, making sure we're getting good power coming through. Again, I'm just getting a little bit of information here that the visibility of the first station, that first ground station to make that connection with Athena, 1909. So probably here just in the next couple of minutes, Mission Control is just going to be standing by for that opportunity. Until that window comes,
6 minutes post up.
we're not going to hear that confirmation until that ground station's ready to receive that signal.
Now, Josh,
Copy that.
what
Com, we're expecting 1909 for the visibility.
That's correct.
It's 1909. They're talking in Central Time, so that's 8:07 here on the East Coast. So here, just a couple minutes away, flight controllers are watching their screens, waiting to make that first connection with Athena while she's been autonomously commissioning herself in space. That process of getting to max power attitude, getting her radio pairs on, and making that first call home, all while moving just about 24,000 miles per hour.
a lot.
That's right.
Now, Josh, what happens if Athena exceeds that time window?
Well, if Athena exceeds that time window, it's okay. She's also programmed to swap radios and antenna pairs to get in a better configuration to make first contact with flight controllers that your folks at home are watching on the left side of your screen. That's Nova Control in Houston, Texas.
Seven minutes, 25 seconds past that.
Copy that.
That's 7 minutes and 25 seconds since we watched
We are
Athena
halfway
separate.
to trip and fitter.
I understand. We should be getting a call shortly from TNOC to connect.
All right, that's a good call from our activity deck director. That's John Graves, waiting for our ground station to connect to Athena as we continue to watch video from the second stage at SpaceX on the right and Intuitive Machines on the left. We'll see, what time do we have here? About 8:08 p.m. Eastern Standard. We're standing by for the ground stations on Earth to receive the signal that we expect. Athena is ready and already making that call back through that autonomous commissioning process. Tahira, you touched on what happens if we don't make this connection. It's going to be all right.
It's okay. Okay, good.
Now, we heard a call from Mission Control talking about a comm fitter being halfway through its cycle. What they're talking about there, Tahira, when we say it'll be okay, it's starting.
Back to me, Goose. Ground out. What are we seeing? Is T not giving you any feedback? Come while they're working that. When is visibility open for Okinawa?
1:29. All right, so we're listening in to when those ground stations will have coverage to connect with Athena in space.
What about DSS 34?
Let's go ahead and toss it back to John and Yome in Hawthorne, California.
In 5 minutes.
We are 9 minutes, 30 seconds past that.
Copy that.
And FM.
Oh, thanks,
15
Josh.
minutes and it just swaps out.
Now we're hearing comms in the background right now. Yes. Now, for those of you following along, you'll know that this mission marks our 24th launch of the year. And we're gearing up for the Sphere X and Punch mission, launching from Vandenberg Space Force Base very soon. And in the coming weeks, NASA's Crew 10 mission to the International Space Station.
You can always follow along at SpaceX.com launches for up-to-date missions and schedules. And before we sign off here at SpaceX, let's go back to Tahira and Josh at Kennedy.
Thanks a lot, John and Yome.
So if you think we can do that and get at least a Farm B up there, that would be great.
All right, Tahira, we have exceeded our nominal acquisition of SIGIL timing estimate, and flight controllers are starting that new set of procedures that will continue over the next several minutes. They're working to confirm our communications configuration is correct, that the flown trajectory we receive from SpaceX matches those expectations, and that our ground station dish is using the right trajectory. That's been a lot of the timing and things that we've heard in chatter right there in Mission Control.
All right, and we are watching flight controllers in Nova Control right now, working to confirm where Nova sees separated from the launch vehicle, and then matching that data to the ground station's dish that's currently working to acquire the lander's signal.
And the team's expected to continue this process for several minutes until Athena's autonomous procedures start a new process. We've heard them call out a couple times of how much time is left until ComFitter, and that is part of that new process to communicate back to Earth. This includes cycling Athena's power systems, switching radios, and swapping antennas to sets that had not been used yet. All at the same time, we're working with SpaceX to confirm a good launch vehicle separation. That means a good translunar orbit. We mentioned that at the
Ground,
top
how long
of
would
the
it
show.
take us to configure the DSN data connection?
Go ahead and turn it on. It should be on now.
Okay, ground net.
And that's our ground net trying to work the ground stations that are on Earth to make that connection with Athena. But right now, we know that Athena...
Just passing 12 minutes in set. We have 4.5 minutes before fitter trips.
Copy, thanks FM.
We know that...
3 minutes. Let's move.
We know that Athena is on a fastball shot toward the moon. That's that translunar orbit. It does give us a lot of flexibility within our flight path.
DSS 34.
and there's some more calls, working with those ground stations, enabling the ground stations to make the calls and make that connection with Athena.
That is the start bed.
All right.
We're going to continue to monitor progress inside of Nova Control.
I have command active for DSS 34.
All right.
Telemetry. Setting command off.
All right, so as we continue to monitor progress inside of Nova Control, we're going to pause to continue listening into what folks are saying inside of Mission Control. But let's just recap what happened leading up to and after liftoff from Launch Complex 39A at NASA's Kennedy Space Center. We saw liftoff to here just around 7:17 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Then we saw a really good shot there.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Enabled DSS 34B.
I believe DSS 34B is another ground station within the Deep Space Network, possibly.
Telemetry active.
All right, are we getting updates?
I don't see packets yet.
All right, that's a key word there. We're waiting for packets. That means that we're receiving data packets down from Athena. Just about 8.5 minutes after launch, we did see that great booster
14 minutes past that.
on a drone ship. And then a second stage startup just about 36.5 minutes after launch. We saw Athena at launch vehicle separation.
All right, GroundNet, what do we need to do to get telemetry packets?
I'm not sure. We should be seeing them now.
All right, we're standing by for data packets. Everyone glued to their screens here. We had launch vehicle separation with Athena just shy of 43 minutes after launch. Nominal acquisition of signal about 5 to 7 minutes. We've exceeded that time. We touched on that autonomous process of what Athena is doing, but right now it's more of a manual process inside of Mission Control as those flight controllers are working to configure the ground stations that are required to make that call. It's possible that Athena is powered on.
All right, so while TNOC is working, looking for anything we can shake on the DSN side to get packets.
And so, Josh, we've mentioned a few different ground stations tonight. If they get this signal from any of them, does that work?
Yeah, it sounds like they're switching over ground stations as we're listening in. I'm not familiar with which one and where they're working those, but they're working to get that signal from Athena, and that's coming from our ground net. And you can see folks working inside of Mission Control trying to solve this problem inside of our circular design control room, allowing folks to kind of wheel around and get the information that they need.
FM, so we're expecting about a minute for the power cycle, and then another 15. Sitting there looking, same antenna config.
30 seconds to the power cycle is what I got.
Copy.
Okay.
All right, as we enter this,
Call it out, we'll start a timer.
as we enter this power cycle, we're going to continue to work that autonomous process with Athena.
We're at 16, 17 is what I'm showing. Is that what we got?
I'm now at 16, 17 right now.
Okay. Copy.
GroundNet, give us calls on the main loop. You are the most important person in the
16:30.
room. Everything you're doing is critical. Call it on the loop, everything you see.
All right, as we hit this repowering process, it's going to start several long terms where
Background net, everything goes on the main loop.
it'll give Athena some time to configure her systems if that's what's required, but it's also going to be some time gaps.
Do we have control in the room?
It's also going to be some time gaps in between when we can configure these ground stations.
Raven. Yeah.
It's going to start opening up longer periods of when we're waiting for autonomous processes as well as...
data control to make sure they're seeing packets for us.
They have carrier lock, sub-carrier lock, symbol lock, but no telemetry.
But they have no telemetry.
Copy.
All right, that's a good sign. We're hearing carrier lock. That's one of the steps that we heard on our first
That's
lunar
different.
mission.
I need to borrow somebody's phone.
We have going.
Showing packets.
All right,
I
we're
have
showing
packets.
packets. All right.
Oh my goodness.
Start looking through your systems.
Everybody wake up.
Got to keep you on your toes, all right? We're going to start Athena here, and that is a great call.
Go ahead,
That
Jeanette.
is an active situation where we're switching ground stations in order to make contact with Athena. Kept us on our toes. I feel a little flush in the face, but getting those data packets and getting that
Yes.
confirmation from Mission Control. Best news I heard all night. I didn't think anything was going to top watching that launch, Tahira.
So Josh, can we breathe easy now?
Orange Coronet, can I?
We can. It sounds like we have our packets and we're working those challenges. But the important thing is we'll be providing those updates on our page as
Did
well
we just
as
lose packets?
on our
Packets.
X account as they continue to work this challenge. But what an
Okay, we
action-packed
got a
moment. 3
snapshot.
rideshare
Everybody take
deployments.
a look at what you got.
And Athena's first call home to let us know she's ready for her lunar journey. And we continue to know that this is a journey filled with challenges. And successfully acquiring Athena's signal and getting those packets and maybe having some more challenges, we know that those are the steps toward getting the ultimate milestone, landing and operating on the lunar surface, Tahira.
I mean, again, like you said, what an action-packed moment. So glad to get that call out. Now, Josh, can you tell us what is next for Athena? You know, can you give us any details on lunar landing?
Well, with today's launch, we expect Athena to land about 8 days from now on March 6th. After vehicle checkouts tonight, we hope to send Athena's selfies with Earth in the background and capture new images along her journey. Over the first 5 days en route to the moon, she'll perform multiple small engine firings to hone in her trajectory toward the moon before committing to lunar orbit insertion. That's about an 11-minute burn to slow the lander down to get captured into lunar orbit. We expect to send another batch of lunar selfies back to Earth during Athena's few days. That's right. And finally, on March 6th, somewhere around lunchtime Eastern, we expect Athena to make a landing attempt and, if all goes to plan, spend about 10 days conducting lunar surface operations.
Well, best of luck, Josh. That's going to wrap up NASA, Intuitive Machines, and SpaceX coverage of the launch of Intuitive Machines' moonlander Athena on a SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket from Pad 39A here at Kennedy Space Center.
And again, if all goes well, Athena is expected to land on the moon 8 days from now on March 6th.
And we will bring you that coverage live right here on NASA Plus. Until then, you can find out more information about this mission and other NASA CLIPS launches by scanning the QR code on your screen or by visiting nasa.gov/CLIPS. Now, we will leave you with a replay of tonight's launch. From everyone here at NASA, Josh Marshall and Intuitive Machines and SpaceX, I'm Tahira Allen. Have a great night.
T-minus 15. T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition and liftoff. Go Falcon, go Intuitive Machine.
Diesel is pitching downrange.
And when default is nominal.